It's 5 o'clock in Pirate Country, and it's time to get pumped up with the P-Man. Hit the door and hit the road. 94.3 The Game is going to get you home, and the P-Man's not holding back.
Yes! Yes! Pirates win! Pirates win!
Bring on the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Holy mackerel! Oh, my goodness!
The flagship station of the ECU Pirates.
All right, welcome in, everybody. It is the Patrick Johnson Show here on 94.3 The Game. It's great to have you along. And we've got Pirate baseball on the mind today, and this is from ECU Football Media Day. Good stuff there, and looking forward to what will be hopefully a very very interesting, very good time as far as ECU sports go and ECU Media Day. Oh, look, there's the Big Hen. How are you? Yeah, no, we're up and running live, Big Hen. You gonna come visit? Yeah, here he comes. The great Henry Hinton about to sit down and join us here on the day off. Have a seat. We're waiting. Our guest is late anyway, so.
Who's your guest?
Mullis was going to stop by, and because he was
Hey
involved
now.
in Media Day. Big Hen, how are you?
Am I on 94.3?
You are.
I was once told I would never be allowed to be on 94.3. I think this might be the first time I've ever
This
been on.
is a rare appearance on 94.3. I think you've been just a couple times, right?
Yeah. I just stuck my head in here because I heard your voice.
Yeah. There you go.
Your voice was resonating down the hall.
What's going on with you, Big Hen?
I've been busy today.
Is that right?
Very busy.
What's been
Very
happening?
busy.
Okay.
Well, we've got we're interviewing somebody in the building right now, and
Oh, really?
maybe since you're recording, maybe I'll bring her by. She might be impressed watching this.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah.
Is this for? I was going to ask, is this for afternoon sports host that you're interviewing? Sometime?
Actually, it is.
Oh, okay,
yes.
very
We're
good.
interviewing for your
Yeah, the
replacement.
sports babe. We're going to resurrect her career and bring her
Fabulous
back in.
sports
Yes,
babe.
Bring the
Coming
fabulous
back.
sports babe
One,
back
two,
in, baby.
three.
So are you excited about baseball?
I am.
Okay.
I am. I'm not in the baseball mode yet.
It's a little cold.
I know today was a media day,
Right. Yep.
and I haven't gotten into it yet. But I'll be there.
Okay.
I'll be there.
Bundled up?
I've been so busy with we've been so focused on football with Team Boneyard and basketball season that
Yeah. So how's Team Boneyard going? What's the latest on the Team Boneyard? I know Hank's sort of the main.
Hank's been the point man. Also, Doug Gomes is chairman of the committee now.
Isn't Matt Slade also involved?
Matt Slade is also. We got a really good group of people who've helped us with Team Boneyard. But the big thing that's helped us is the fact that people have responded and understand the need for NIL, and we've brought in some amazing new people. But look, Mullis is here, so what am I doing here? I'm sitting in for you, Mullis.
All right.
By the way, I heard it was Mullis's birthday.
Is it?
Did you have a birthday party
Yesterday
this weekend?
was Mullis's birthday?
Huh? I was not invited.
Well, it was a surprise.
Come on in.
Don't feel bad. I wasn't invited either. All right. The Big Hen exits. Mike Mullis sits down.
Hey, guys.
Mully, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
It's a Mully Monday.
Yeah.
Talking Pirate baseball.
Yeah. I tell you what, pretty cool media day today.
So I don't think I'm going to be letting the cat out of the bag here, but Mullis is going to be involved this year as the analyst for
That's
ESPN Plus.
Yep.
Which is pretty exciting.
Yep. So my first foray into the media day circuit
Was today?
And it was good. You know what? And the overwhelming sentiment that I left with, number one, the culture that the staff has created has been very effective as it relates to the messaging from these young men and the cohesion with which they went about things. Just an impressive group of guys. I mean, really, from Root being the youngest one up through some of the seniors. But no, I mean, you leave there with a not that we didn't have a certain amount of optimism going into it anyway, but listen to these guys talking. They talk about how tight they are as a group, even using the term like this is the tightest group we've ever had. From having been in locker rooms my whole life, when you start hearing things like that, those are things that make the difference in the hard times.
Right.
And in a baseball season, they're going to be hard times.
Cliff Godwin really likes his freshmen. He likes his freshman class, and he's going to have to rely on many of these freshmen.
Yep.
And when you do have freshmen, I don't care how good the class is or how good a player or group of players are, there's going to be ups and downs in the course of the season. So that fabric, that culture, would seem to be something that you have to have, especially if you're relying on a lot of young players, because it's something you can fall back on. Pretty
critical. And, Bristol Carter is a kid that even Cliff said when asked about kind of how the lineup was going to shake. And Bristol Carter, it appears to be the heir apparent in center field. And then everybody else is fairly names that we've all heard and we've all seen play these positions before, with the one exception, Dixon Williams, obviously going in at third base for McIlravitz. So, but, you look at your Savage on the front end, Root as your number 2 starter. I think the back end of that rotation still has some questions. And then you start throwing out the Lunsford Shinkman and Jaden Winter and all the guys in the pen. And you know what, PJ, the other thing that I had thought about before but really dawned on me today, listening to Justin Wilcoxon speak, is the depth of the catching core. And so you've obviously have Wilcoxon and McChrystal. McChrystal hoping to be able to spell Wilcoxon a little bit more this year than he was last year because of, kind of a nagging back.
Right.
But then you've got the young freshman catcher Walker, and I'm drawing a blank on his last name, but a really good defensive catcher. And then you hear a guy like Justin Wilcoxon talking about the Walker and the catching core, and he makes such mature statements to the effect of like, this is the deepest we've ever been, and man, as Walker develops and becomes, more understanding of the college game, what an asset he's going to be. So really, again, just the maturity level for these guys, the culture that they convey, the culture that they've absorbed over these years is more than just lip service. It's pretty cool to hear them actually talk, and it could have just as easily been Cliff and Coach Palumbo and Coach Knight, and the message is consistent.
All right, Mully, put your earpiece on. We'll leave this right there. We'll get you straight. Yep. Should have been here on time. We will.
I was trying.
We will,
lots of obligations.
Yeah, I understand. You're a busy man.
I am.
Now a big TV star. This is Cliff Godwin on. This is the most player-led group that the Pirates have ever had.
Chance to be the best leadership group that we've ever had here in the 10 years that I've been the coach here, and it's been just awesome to watch those guys continue to grow and develop, and the closeness of this group. And you'll hear from the players, but they all told me at the end of the fall it's the closest group that we've ever had here. And you got J-Dub, who's a fifth-year guy, so half a decade he's been here. So I think he's got a pretty good idea of what has happened in the past. But Carter Cunningham has been unbelievable. Treya Savage, all those junior pitchers, Jake Hunter, Shinkman. I'm thinking JC has done a really good job as well. And there's others. There's about 14 guys in our leadership group, and we try to communicate on a regular basis, even if we're not meeting once a week, and bouncing ideas off each other. But the thing I would tell you is it's the most player-led group that we've ever had.
That's kind of just what you were talking about.
Yeah, it was almost like we scripted that. I wasn't here in time to rehearse that. But no, and even, the questions asked, and I thought this was an incredible response, having, again, been around baseball players my whole life. The questions asked of Jenkins Coward about his most memorable college moment, and the question was asked about his 3 home run game. And he goes, no, he said it was the walk-off against Houston that Wilcoxon had. That's next level selflessness when you've got, a handful of media members, cameras, and you've got an opportunity to steal the spotlight a little bit. And Jenkins Coward, just outright went exactly to the core of their culture and was very selfless and said, no, my most impactful moment of my college playing career was one of my teammates and our team's accomplishment. And I think that's, echoed by what you heard from Cliff right there.
All right, a little more here from Coach Godwin from Media Day. He was asked about how the team got better over the fall. Cut 7.
We got a lot better from the beginning of the fall to the end. We were able to get a lot of guys out there that had not been put in those situations before. Everybody will probably ask about Bristol Carter, but him being able to play center field against UVA and Clemson, I think that's a good experience for him. Ethan Norby, I almost said Connor, getting out there and being able to pitch against a different uniform, and some other guys. But I think it was big for Colby Wallace to get out there, and a bunch of young guys. No offense, we know what Trey Savage and Zach Root and some of the older pitchers can do against different uniforms, so getting those other guys out there was a big deal.
All right, we'll talk some pitching here in a second. The corners will also be an interesting spot for the Pirates because you have to replace some production there.
Yeah, corner infield and outfield. So, and I say, we lose Hoover and left, and he's been out there for, seems like forever. But, Nowak, we've seen him out there. Everybody's pretty comfortable with that. Right field looks like it'll be JC to start. They do have some interchangeable parts with Cunningham coming in to play first base. You still have Cam Clonch in that mix, and then Dixon Williams and the young freshman that Coach alluded to there. Third base, but then that gives you Chrisman that can bounce around between second, short, third, even playing some outfield if need be. And that's kind of away from media day, actually just in the hallway talking with Coach Palumbo. I'm like, they are incredibly deep with truly valuable depth, not just bodies at these spots.
Yeah.
And we talked about it some with the catching core, but when you start looking about the interchangeable parts between the freshmen and returners, corner infield, corner outfield, and then obviously with the young freshmen starting in center, it really is. It's pretty impressive kind of how they've recruited this and how this is kind of taking shape over time. And it does feel like kind of some of the lumps that the program took last year in growing should pay dividends this year.
All right, we'll talk about those catchers right now. Cliff Godwin on McChrystal staying healthy.
He's worked really hard with our athletic trainer, Logan Rupp now, also going over to Young's physical therapy to manage that back. That's something that is not going to go away. He's going to have to do that, but he's been really healthy. He's been really diligent with his work with Coach Lartigue on his catching and his hitting. He's continued to mature as a leader in our program. So, of course, all of us want him to have that breakout season that we've seen in the fall. Both falls he's played awesome, swung the bat really well, and this past fall he played great defensively. So, we want to definitely take some stress off J-Dub going into the spring and not having to catch him every inning of coming through the loser's bracket in a conference tournament game and looking at him and me having to pinch hit for him in the conference tournament championship game because he couldn't even swing the bat. So we definitely think Ryan and also Walker Barron can take some of that workload off J-Dub this spring.
It's Walker Barron. All right, Justin Wilcoxon, big for the young pitchers mentally.
I think J-Dub's the one that, to me, has, and you can ask Coach Knight this, but he has a lot of conversations with the pitchers behind the scenes. So does Ryan, but J-Dub is he's got a really calm demeanor about him. As you guys can see, you don't see a lot of emotion, either really high or really low. And I think the guys really respect him because he just shows up and goes to work every day. When you have a guy that's a really good player that works really hard every day, then you earn a lot of respect by your peers.
All right. There you go. Just all the things you were just talking about, Mully.
Yeah, you know what? And to have a fifth-year catcher or fifth-year and a guy of his ilk.
Yep.
We're not talking about a guy that's just hung around the program and now is getting a chance to play.
Yeah.
We're talking about a guy that's taken a lot of live bullets. And for him to have returned, and I'm sure, and I'm putting words in his mouth, but just I'm sure that he was a little disappointed that the pro thing maybe didn't work out the way that he would have liked to coming out of his junior year. But the fact that he gets a chance to return in what appears to me to be a very special opportunity, it's going to pay dividends having him back there.
There's a stigma with older guys as far as the pros go, but to me, that's the one position that you might be able to stick somewhere as catcher because it's almost like a defensive lineman in football. There's not a whole lot of good ones out there.
Very, very difficult to come by good catching.
Yeah.
And we've seen Wilcoxon's back come around in the last, really last year. He had some really, really quality at-bats and he, had some power numbers. And I'm going to tell you, with him, I think that the fact of the continuing maturity for him, not only as a player but as his games matured, I think we'll see less of those pitches off that we've gotten from him and more of a complete effort behind the plate.
Since you were late, we're going to hold you through the commercial.
I'll be right here, buddy.
And then we'll come back and have more of Mondays with Mully. a new feature on the Patrick Johnson Show during the baseball season. We'll be back. We're going to talk the pitching staff.
Yep.
And then Mully, Coach Mullis. I'm just putting it all out there today.
Okay, do it.
All right. We'll be back.
Greenville Toyota's winter wrap-up event. Wrap up a great deal on over 100 pre-owned vehicles, starting under $15,000. We have all makes and models, including luxury. Plus, wrap up a huge warranty and no-charge maintenance. Hurry into Greenville Toyota.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you farm to fork beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to fork beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Hey, grab me one too.
When a place is as special as this, you don't want to change a thing. You simply want to enjoy it, just as it is. That was our inspiration behind Bow Coast West, our newest community in Beaufort, North Carolina. Embrace all that we love about this very special place and make it easy for families to enjoy all that this coastal lifestyle has to offer. Be inspired. Bow Coast West.
It's Greenville Toyota's winter wrap-up event. We're wrapping up the year with our biggest savings. Shop new Camrys and RAV4s, $289 a month. Need credit? Get pre-qualified today. Wrap up a great deal with payments from $289 at Greenville Toyota.
You ready for this?
Oh, I'm very ready. Okay, ready?
You ready?
Streaming to the world at 943thegame.com. This is the Patrick Johnson Show. Now, in all his glory, here's the P-Man.
Coach Mullis.
Hey, buddy.
You're back.
I am.
On the field.
I am. In a somewhat limited capacity because of my responsibilities, with East Carolina.
Right.
In case
you're missing it, just missed it. ECU baseball, the analyst this year for the ESPN Plus games will be Mike Mullis.
None other.
And hopefully you and I will get to do a couple.
I sure hope so.
Yeah, considering I got you the job.
That's exactly.
All right, let's. But you're back coaching.
Yeah, helping out over at DH Conley with Coach Mills and the guys, and man, it's been
not
a lot
bad
of fun.
program to be affiliated with.
No, there's not a bad program in Pitt County to be affiliated with, quite frankly. So, my sons are at Conley. My wife teaches at Conley.
Oh, I didn't know she taught there.
Yeah,
Okay.
She's the media center coordinator.
Right,
so
you've
one
told
of
me
them.
that before. Yes.
Yep. So we
media center coordinator,
not to be confused with the librarian. That would have been historically the case. But so I'm excited to be on staff. It's been great. We got a lot of kids, 81 kids in the program, 3 teams. Really like our guys. I mean, it's fun to look. The game's fun. Obviously love to win, but just the interaction and the watching the maturation of these young men is equally as important.
You get a number?
You know what? I haven't even asked. I would doubt it because I won't check into a game.
Right.
I've told Coach Mills I'll wear sweatpants. I'll do whatever.
So they don't give coaches numbers like they do.
You know what? I don't know what in college. I never had a number. We would have assigned numbers, but most of the time
when
we
you coached at Pitt, you said
or even other places we would.
How did the people know it was you then?
Well, they weren't really worried about me, and I think that's the thing that as a coach you don't really worry about.
Maybe know that.
Well, yeah, all we can do is lose games. The players win them, so we didn't. I didn't need any more spotlight.
I understand. So we're talking some Pirate baseball. It was Media Day today, and Mike Mullis is here with us in the studio. I'm going to be headed over to Inside Pirate Athletics at Tiebreakers. We might see Mully there.
Yeah, maybe.
Can't promise anything. But we'll have Coach Swartz tonight. Stephen Igo is under the weather.
Oh, boy.
Influenza. And hopefully he'll be back soon.
He was, and I literally thought I missed him at Media Day thinking.
You weren't there?
No, he was not there.
They want to spread it.
Yeah.
They want to spread the flu bug.
Well.
You got those little kids, man.
Man, I'm telling you what, and it seems to be rampant right now with people that are getting the daycare sicknesses. And, so take your vitamins, folks.
Obviously, ECU probably has a 1 and 1A as far as starting pitching goes with Trey Savage and Zach Root, who I know you're very high on. So let's start there with those two.
I'll tell you this, and I hope I'm not letting any cats out of the bag, but I was able to get out to practice Friday, and they did just started some inter-squad stuff, and Trey Savage goes out to the mound, and I've seen Trey pitch countless times. And I literally took my phone out to confirm that was him based off the number. I knew it looked like him. I knew that was his number, but the mechanics were totally different. And when I say a marked improvement, I think for his durability,
I was going to say, because that was
always a concern of mine. And last year we ran into a little bit of that where he came up tender, and he was a big kind of head tilt guy and pitch kind of above the top of the zone, above the barrel. And then you would see that big hammer breaking ball that would get in the dirt when sometimes that's a good thing, but there's times where you need to be able to throw it for a strike without bouncing it.
Right.
And we would see that inconsistency. So as he's throwing, I'm looking, and he goes, strikeout, weak pop up, and is out of the inning, very minimal pitches. But, man, it was so clean. The path was so good. And what the big thing I noticed is that when you're looking at pitchers, you kind of look at arm side control and glove side control and then the stuff that goes along with that. And something that, in my opinion, Trey had struggled with was pitching to his arm side. But he was throwing off speed effectively to both right-handers and left-handers, which his off-speed changeup working to his arm side. It was just really, really impressive. And I thought about asking about it today, Media Day, but it was kind of.
Oh, you were going to ask a question?
Well, it wasn't that, and I hadn't earned my right to ask a question yet.
Look, there's some people there who ask questions of these things that have no business asking anything.
True. So, but and then you go to Root, and I since the first time I saw that young man pitch, it's homegrown, and so the question is asked today about his mechanics, and what a great answer, and it makes total sense. He's like, yeah, my dad wouldn't let me throw a baseball pitching-wise until I mastered the wind-up and I had complete muscle memory of it and could basically do it, blindfolded.
Good for his dad.
No, and it makes total sense. I mean, the first time you and I talked about Root, the exact word I've used every time is it's homegrown.
Yeah.
This is not a manufactured mechanical wind-up.
It's effortless.
It's, and again, he doesn't probably even know who Dontrell Willis is, but it reminds me of Dontrell Willis.
He's a Florida guy.
Maybe. And also, we go back to Mackenzie Gore. That's been another comparison, and I don't think it's fair to say stuff-wise. I mean, that's a high bar. But the homemade nature of Mackenzie Gore's mechanics, he gets out the pro ball, they try to tamper with it, he comes up a little lame, and they say, hey, go back and do what you're good at. So, no, I think big things there. I would say that there's a question mark in that 3-hole. The question mark is mine. I'm sure the staff has a plan there, but from hearing them talk today, there's been lots of guys that have shown the qualities to be that Sunday starter. And so I think it's going to be, we may even have started by committee there early in the year.
Let's hear from Austin Knight. He talks about the bullpen, and if he could describe the bullpen in one word, this is what it would be.
In one word, that's interesting. I hope tough, right? Like just tough. I got a bunch of guys who were able to take the ball and go finish games and go attack the opponent and things like that. But I think what you're going to look at is you're going to have some variety in the bullpen as well, where guys look different. There's different arm slots. There's different pitch mixes. And I think, with the staff and with the team, you're always wanting that word to be tough, right? And so if we have a good variety of different mix from the bullpen aspect, and you also have a bunch of guys who have been in the moment and are tough and can handle the situation, I think you look at a bullpen that can be very successful.
I jumped the gun because I was going to ask you about the third starter and midweek, but let's talk about the bullpen first.
Obviously, Lunsford Shinkman comes right to mind, right? We've seen him take the ball in some really big times. Jaden Winters, we've seen his progression and growth. And then these freshmen. There's been a lot of excitement around Norby. I think there are going to continually be options. And you know what? I think the other side is the way. If you go back 2 years ago, the way that the pitching staff was handled by necessity from the standpoint of maybe bouncing starters, guys throwing kind of in different roles. Again, that starts to pay dividends now. When you look at Trey Savage, he's thrown in every environment. He's thrown out of every position and in every environment that you could be exposed to as a pitcher. So now when he's down there kind of working with the younger guys, going through his processes to get ready, the younger guys have an example of a guy who knows what it takes to be ready whenever your number's called. So, PJ, I'll just tell you top to bottom, man, and this is going to sound – I think Savage it could be a high draft pick. Who knows? But I think he's going to be a really good pitcher this year. Same thing with Root. But I think you have a lot of other guys down there that are going to be really capable, and we don't know right now exactly how good they're going to be until we see them settle into these roles and kind of how this thing's going to flow, because I do think it's going to be a little different than what we've seen each of the last two seasons.
Who is the number 3 starter in your mind?
Lunsford Shinkman is a name that keeps being thrown around as having a really good fall and early spring. But I tell you what, it's really nice to have that guy in a bullpen, in the bullpen when you have to make a move. So, I don't know. And what we've learned with Cliff and this staff, that when we speculate something like that, all we can do is make ourselves look like idiots, right? Because you just never know.
But you really can't say, okay, we're going to piece that one together as the game plan each week.
No, but I think early you can to say, okay, we know where we're at 1 and 2. Let's see who's available for 3, because we've got, and Cliff alluded to it, that there's like 6 guys that really want that spot. Mm-hmm. And I think that's Cliff's way of saying we'll let the situation dictate where we go with that. And a lot of times that might be the Friday night situation, right? Like your Savage goes out, they make 1 trip to the pen, maybe 2 trips to the pen early, probably be a few more trips. But we make limited number of trips to the pen. Okay, we kind of burn those guys, not going to start them on Sunday, but who do we have left?
Right.
Same thing, and so you kind of start to be able to tailor it to the weekend, and then obviously looking at these midweek games are big. If you look at that midweek schedule, if you just take that part of the schedule and kind of break it down, but it's no joke. And so there's a lot of RPI importance in those midweek games as it relates to the overall schedule.
Mike Mullis is with us here in the studio. Midweek, obviously that same from that same group.
Same answer.
Yeah.
And again, I think that if it's all ifs right now, right? It's all ifs. If this happens, then this is, But I think that the answer behind that if is going to be pretty solid no matter which way they go. I really don't think that once you get past the top 2 guys, you have a juggernaut that's down there in any one role. I think you have a lot of guys that are very capable in lots of different roles, which is, quite frankly, from a coaching staff, that's a great situation. This isn't like when you look at football, and I know a lot of people are probably cringing and going, well, we didn't have a quarterback going into football season. This isn't that situation. If we were sitting here right now saying, man, we really don't know who we're going to start Friday night.
Could the kid from George Washington? Is that?
Yeah, absolutely. He's been very capable this. I saw him in the fall. Very capable. And is he your midweek guy? I don't know. Is he your Sunday guy? I don't know. But it's
because he was the Friday guy.
He's very capable.
We saw him.
So we did.
Yeah.
So I think they have a lot of answers. It's kind of unique again, and I keep saying this. I think, quite frankly, going into this, they do have more answers than questions. The questions are just a bigger deal to us than they are to the coaching staff.
Up the middle.
Same. You Starling, Barini.
So it's Barini's job right now.
I feel like it. And there's a couple younger guys that are going to push him. And then you have Chrisman that can mix in there. You think about a kid like Jacob Starling and where he's come from to where he is now. I think he's a big part of the culture of this program. I mean, that's a kid that since the first day he stepped on the field, it was nothing but kind of swagger. There was that kind of pro ball feel with him, and that this moment's not too big. And you look at what he's done in the big moments, and this is this is his year.
Ryder is the opening week.
Yes.
Or opening season.
Opening
opponent.
Yeah,
opening series.
Yeah, opening 3, yep.
And then you got Carolina coming in here after you go to Bowie's Creek. That early on trip to Bowie's Creek.
And that's, that's always an interesting game. The one we saw last year was kind of sloppy, remember? And we got some big arms going with some, a lot of velocity up there. But, off to a fast start. Obviously, still have some homework to do on Ryder. But we know what to expect with Campbell, and obviously with the Hills, and that's an interesting structure for that series where they're doing one in Chapel Hill and then one in Fayetteville, and then coming back here on Sunday to play. And I think was it last year? I think it was last year that we saw the rain out on one of the days, and it ends up being
Friday,
a double.
And it ends up being a
doubleheader.
Well, it winds up being played later in the year.
Maybe they played, but it seemed like did they play a late game here on Sunday night or something that was anyway. It's that time of the year, the schedule can be changed very quickly due to weather. It's just the nature of the beast.
One of the games, because that last year they couldn't find the third
the
neutral
pro
site venue.
That's right. That's right.
That's a little harder to find, I got to imagine.
Well, and I think it's gotten it's to the point now with all these venues and people trying to get creative with scheduling that it comes down to the negotiation, between the rental of the facility and how many resources, how much money do we want to spend to do this, and what's the revenue on the back end? Can we just break even on this, or do we go in the hole trying to play a game in Durham? And I mean, if you think back a few years ago, East Carolina going to Durham to play Duke, I think it was. And the complaint that we couldn't get in the stadium because they were understaffed, so people taking tickets. And then, if you wanted a beverage or a hot dog, whatever, the lines were forever and whatever. So, and we're spoiled. I mean, where else would you rather play than right here?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, there's not it's kind of cool to go play at a pro park, but, I mean, it's kind of hard to beat this.
Yeah.
Between the
and
facilities.
It is really, really well run with its concessions and tickets and all that. It's very well run.
And they figured out a lot of things over the year. And now that if you want to get a cold beer and a hot dog, you have at it. It's all available for you right there at the stadium.
Mike Mullis is with us. We'll talk to Mully throughout the season, and it'll be a lot of fun to talk baseball. With,
I am. I'm excited. I'm always excited about this time of the year, but a lot going on and a lot to look forward to. And Hot Stove coming up this week, and and then that to me kind of officially kicks things off.
Who's the Hot Stove?
You know what? I thought you were going to ask me that, and I'm drawing a blank. I know who it is, but I'm drawing a blank.
Let's just say Kirk Gibson.
Let's go with that.
He's not. We don't know.
No, we don't know.
We don't know that.
We know that it's not.
We know that it's
know
not.
for sure.
That much we know it's not. By the way, happy birthday!
Thank you, buddy.
You had a birthday yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah. Did 21.
Yep. So you can finally have a beer, huh?
20. I may go to Tiebreakers and watch the coaches show and have one tonight. Maybe.
Beers never touch those lips.
Definite maybe.
Definite maybe. You'll be there. Anything from I know you don't have the schedule in front of you, but is there anything from the schedule that you? Let me ask you about the LeClaire tournament. Purdue, Cal State Fullerton.
Yep. That'll be fun.
Yeah,
that's
and then
Jason,
Southeastern Louisiana.
Jason Dietrich coming back with Cal State Fullerton, so it'll be fun to see him and have his crowd here and
another Big Ten. These Big Ten teams love to come here and play.
They do, and again, we get lost in the fact that the expectations in Greenville are that there will just be 3,000 people at a game or whatever the number is. These teams will come in here, regardless of what the weather is. I mean, now it's been brutally cold for some of these, tournament weekends, and they'll just be amazed. A program like Cal State Fullerton, they just don't fill up there's a lot to do out there, right? It's not it's not the heartbeat of the community a lot like it is here. So those teams will come in, they'll get their eyes open, they'll get exposed to the Eastern North Carolina. I know it's East Carolina, but the Eastern North Carolina love for baseball and the hospitality, and the kids always have stories about somebody bringing them a plate of barbecue or a hot dog or whatever, and that's always really cool. So looking forward to that. Obviously, I mean, I think the one that's circled on the calendar for a lot of people was NC State coming here. Obviously, going there will be good, but NC State coming here, and there'll be some mixed emotions in that game, and I just that will be certainly an interesting game. I think as it relates to conference, and that was asked today, who knows? Who knows what this, exactly how everything's going to shake? I know that, it is a different look and different than what we've seen. Some familiar faces, but, largely, we'll kind of be getting to know each other as we play.
Good to see you, Mully.
Always, buddy.
And again, a belated happy birthday to you.
Thank you, pal.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we return, Philip and Ref Pilkington with the 94.3 The Game Sports Flash Update and Pirate Report. And then Pilk will have an expanded Pirate Report for you to wrap up the show, talking maybe some more from Media Day, but definitely some Pirate basketball. All right, speaking of Pirate basketball, they are playing tonight, the radio show is tonight, the coaches show, Inside Pirate Athletics from Tiebreakers. I'm headed over there, and we will hear from Coach Swartz tonight. Thank you, Mully. And thanks to Big Hen, Henry Hen, for coming by.
Pinch hit
for you.
Pinch hit Hen.
Yeah, pinch hit Hen. All right, we'll be back right after this with the ref with an update and a lot more to wrap up the show.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential